You are listening to an MLGA Network podcast.
Cam, I don't want to do a cold open before the show.
Why not?
Why not?
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Seriously, what's your issue today? Are you 4?
Listen, I was going to the store and I stopped, in the little crosswalk to let these people cross the road, and they didn't do a courtesy wave. And it's just thrown off my entire day.
Yeah, well, people suck. If it makes you feel any better, I had a weird day too.
Really? What happened to you?
A guy came into my shop today and looked at me in the eyes and said, "Are you the manager here?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "I'm looking to make a costume." I said, "Okay. I mean, we have a lot of materials for that." And he looked me in the eyes and he said, "Do you think I'd look good in a Catwoman suit?"
Oh. Where the do you work?
I don't want to talk about work stuff. Welcome to Make Liberty Great Again, the best damn Liberty podcast that you've never heard of. Phil and I will be your guides as we peer into the ridiculous reality of our society and our government. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Make Liberty Great Again, Ron Paul's Playhouse. I'm your host, Cam Harless, and joining me today is my co-host, Phil Padilla.
My mind and my body are ready. Particularly my body.
Oh, I'd rather not hear that.
Don't lie. Just let it happen.
Let's just get started.
All right, if you say so. Well, all right, so big news. Like everyone's reporting about, the Mueller report was finally delivered to the Attorney General.
Yeah, I heard about that. I also heard it was a whole bunch of nothing.
A nothing burger, as, Van Jones was caught saying on Project Veritas' hidden camera.
What in the world is nothing burger? I keep hearing this phrase, and I don't know why people say it.
Well, imagine a hamburger, but there's nothing between the buns. So it's a nothing burger. I don't know if that's the technical definition, but that's what I'm going with. So just take it. But I think the bull. I think it's finally over.
Yeah, right. No way.
I mean, what are you trying to say? Are you insinuating that the left's just not going to give up?
I'm saying that the corporate press is the enemy of humanity.
Well, would you like to go into detail?
Nope. Do not care. At all.
Me neither.
That guy on MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, cried though.
It's the new Great Depression. But hey, another enemy of humanity failed this week.
That's right. The Green New Deal that we've talked about, two or three times, or at least in passing.
At least 7 times.
I mean, we're on 6 episodes, so geez-a-loo, we're doing good. But no, I mean, it died spectacularly in the Senate.
Oh my God, it so died. And I'm 100% sure that Sandy from the Bronx is pissed.
Well, she might secretly be pissed, but she's pretending that she orchestrated the vote.
What are you talking about?
So apparently, so if you actually look at the vote, absolutely no one in the Senate voted in favor of the Green New Deal. So 57 senators voted no, just straight up said no. And by the way, I'm not used to shouting out Democrats and, same thing with Republicans. Usually they have some sort of ulterior motive that they're working on that we don't see. But there were 3 Democrats that said no.
Right.
I'll shout these guys out. One of your senators, Sinema. He voted against it. But the guy who won,
I think Sinema's a lady.
Oh, is it? Oh, I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure Sinema's a lady. We'll go with it. We'll go with he. It's 2019. Who cares? He, whatever.
Real talk. I don't know about any of these people.
Senator Zer voted no.
But yeah, Jones in Alabama, Doug Jones, who barely beat a pedophile, I don't even think he was really a pedophile. I think that was just a targeted attack. But whatever.
He probably is.
There's no telling. Yeah, he voted no, and then Manchin from West Virginia voted no. But the rest of the Democrats, so all the Republicans, 3 Democrats, voted no, and the rest of the Democrats voted president instead of voting for the resolution. She had absolutely no backing or even a single yes vote in the Senate. Not even Bernie said yes.
So the majority of them vote or not vote, they abstain from voting. And she's somehow she's somehow taking credit that she orchestrated that whole event.
Right. According to Miss Cortez, by the way, she hates being called Miss Cortez. I don't know why these people say things on Twitter, but she had a little rant and she hates being called Miss Cortez. So guess what? Miss Cortez it is.
Miss Cortez it is. What a weird thing to hate being called. Like you're not married and your last name's Cortez.
Right.
Okay?
Apparently
Whatever.
you have to say both names or it doesn't count. But so apparently, according to her, she and some other people told all of these Democratic senators to vote present instead of voting for it, and they just complied. I'll read the tweet. Senator John Barrasso, who I've also never heard of before, said on Twitter, "Why did Senate Democrats just duck a vote on your Green New Deal?" And she responded, "Because I encouraged them to vote present along with others. McConnell tried to rush the Green New Deal straight to the floor without a hearing. The real question we should be asking, why does the Senate GOP refuse to hold any major hearings on climate change?"
Because it's stupid, that's why. Hold on. So this guy straight up says, hey, why did the Democrats duck voting on the Green New Deal? And she says, because I told them to, along with others.
Yeah.
Who are the others? No one else voted present. Who are the others?
No idea.
Who is she talking about?
I guess she's
whatever. She's
arrogant.
She's crazy. Yeah, just totally freaking arrogant. Just wow.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly, the only thing I can imagine right now is that every representative and senator that's been in office for more than 5 minutes just hates her guts. I mean, for coming in and not only trying to change the entire economy in one fell swoop, but like following that up by acting like she controls them all.
Yeah, that freshman spunk, that spirit she has. I mean, I know that would piss me off. I don't know why, but there's just something about her that just really gets on my nerves.
Is it her horse face?
It's not so much that. It's the fact that she's like, I think she's honestly borderline retarded. Which I feel bad picking at sometimes, but then again, whatever.
One thing I found out the other day, because my mom kept tagging me in it, was there was a video, and I don't remember the name of the group, but there was like a Democratic think tank that essentially ran auditions to find out who they wanted to run in the House of Representatives, and she won essentially a popularity contest to become the nominee.
So like The Voice?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know exactly, but yeah, I mean, there was like auditions.
I wonder if she had to do like a talent, like if she had to like ask some questions under fire, like in the hot seat, and then like put on a little performance. You know what I mean?
I have no idea.
You know, the swimsuit competition. You know, how good does she look? But yeah, that would be an interesting. I'd like to hear more about that. We're gonna have to do some Google.
I'll try to find the video.
Maybe your mom's just
for you.
Maybe your mom's just coming up with some boomer stats, but
no, I actually watched a video where they explained it.
Oh, really? Verified.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Hey, we're gonna have to talk about that offline, but back on subject here. My understanding is that good old Mitch McConnell,
that turtle person,
he pushed the vote more or less because he wanted to put a target on anybody that would vote for something so stupid.
Yeah, no, I heard that too. And according to analysts, that's why almost all of them voted present. Yeah, he wanted to make it so that all of the Democrats who voted for that measure looked like loons to the people that they would need to convince to vote for them in the next election.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty good strategy. I mean, who do you think won? I feel like you could pretty much call every present vote a yay vote in reality.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this will end up helping the left or the right more, but as of this moment, the U.S. is just a little bit safer when it comes to the stupid ideas of Miss Cortez.
Miss Cortez. Oh, sorry, that's racist. But so speaking of stupid ideas, do you know who has a lot of stupid ideas? Hollywood.
Hey, did you watch the Oscars this year?
Shut it.
I'd ask you what these morons were up to now, but I'm actually close to this situation, so let's talk about it.
All right, well, here's the scoop. The Georgia State Senate recently passed a bill that would ban abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected, and it's now heading towards the House.
Do you smell that? Do you smell that, Phil?
What is it?
I think that smell is it extortion?
I think you're right. I think Alyssa Milano and some other Holly weirdos, being the pillars of morality that they are, they quickly fired back by having, their little Writers Guild of America essentially issue an ultimatum to the governor, which is kill the bill or production crews, TV shows, etc. may choose to leave the state entirely. What's hilarious, these bullying tactics used by the left, they never cease to amaze me. The party of tolerance and understanding, they'll just bully anybody into submission who's not willing to just roll over and take it from them. But anyway, I'm interested to hear, as someone who hides from the government somewhere in the state of Georgia, I'm curious to hear your 2 cents.
Getting too much into it, let's just say that the people who make movies in Georgia, I see them. They regularly use products that I sell in their movies. Every now and then, someone who works at Marvel it's kind of cool, will tell me if I'm on the right track when it comes to speculating about Endgame or whatever new movies coming down the pipeline.
Well, that sounds kind of awesome. But do you think if they stopped shooting, that would affect your store and your overall, the bottom line of your store and the ability to feed your 27 kids?
Yeah, it could. But quickly, ask me how much I care.
No, just tell us.
Thank you for asking. I don't care at all. I can't imagine living in a mindset where you see a law that literally says that babies whose hearts are beating should be protected, and your first thought is to try and, destroy the livelihoods of people you don't know in a state that you don't live in.
But, in all honesty, in the 2019 Democratic, party, these progressives, do we really expect anything different?
No, I don't. These people they sat on their asses while the last president created terrorist after terrorist by killing a bunch of children. But the second that someone says that boys' bathrooms are for boys and girls' bathrooms are for girls, or that perhaps the most vulnerable of us deserve to be protected, that virtue signal gets switched on and they go for blood. They try to take out the ability of fathers and mothers everywhere or anywhere that they decide they disagree with those fathers and mothers. They try to take out their ability to feed their family.
That seems like the status quo, Broseph Stalin. We have to, speaking from their perspective, we have to destroy anybody who doesn't fall in line. And, at this point, after seeing what we've seen for the last 2 years, after everything that they've done, said, continue to do, if they're not propping up death and destruction, I wouldn't know what party we're talking about at this point in time.
I'm just glad that we have an intellectual and moral giant like Who's the Boss's own Alyssa Milano to save us poor Southerners from ourselves.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger really made a mistake by saving her in Commando. But, I'm just, honestly, hopefully, the state, Georgia grows a pair and just stands their ground. It would be nice just for once for these elites to just get a black eye and just get put in their place and for someone to just finally say, no, we won't comply with your stupid ideas. But just That's all I want, is just put them in their place. Just one time. That's all I'm asking for.
Right. Speaking of someone trying to put someone in their place, Rockland County, New York, recently declared a state of emergency over a measles outbreak. That's right. I mean, I don't know if you watched the Brady Bunch much as a kid, but they had an episode where they had measles and played it up for laughs. So, but yeah, the state of emergency goes as far as barring unvaccinated minors from public spaces.
Jeez. New York sure loves its statism. And let's just think about it. How are they going to enforce this craziness? I mean, maybe the state can just cut pretense just this one time and let's just sew a giant U onto their clothing so that we can easily identify these unvaccinated, degenerates.
I mean, at least give them the free tattoos too. I don't know how they'll actually be able to enforce this. Regardless, it's now in effect that anyone under 18 who isn't vaccinated against the measles is banned from public places. It's supposed to last until the declaration expires in 30 days, or until these people comply and get vaccinated. And also, from what I've read, there are no religious exemptions.
Well, that's awesome. I perused a couple articles, and I guess officials had to come out and say that cops aren't going to be roaming the streets asking papers please, but if someone is caught in public unvaccinated, their case is going to go all the way up to the DA's office of all places. But my opinion, my perspective, this seems like a big state-sanctioned scare tactic. And the reason is just a push for vaccine compliance. I mean, I've looked up some statistics, and there's about roughly 150 cases of measles in that county, and the population's almost 330,000 people. So we're talking about a fraction of 1%. So please explain to me how this is a state of emergency when we're talking about something that affects less, a fraction of 1% of the population.
There's always money in the banana stand. I also think that this may be some sort of political stunt to push the feds further towards federally mandating vaccines instead of letting parents and doctors make choices for their kids. Someone makes money off of vaccines. Who's pushing it? Where's the money? I haven't dug too deeply, but when stuff like this happens, it doesn't exactly add up.
Yeah, I mean, there's that old phrase that always says, follow the money, but vaccines, I'll give it to them. It's a contentious issue, but can we all just see this for what it is? I mean, this is a blatant power grab by the government to force compliance with their vaccine agenda. That's it. I mean, what else could you possibly sum it up as? You want to travel, in public? Okay, get vaccinated. No big deal. I mean, they went as far as taking away people's freedom of travel. So honestly, what's next?
To be fair, it's only a matter of time before they go for the throat federally. There's too much money in vaccines for senators and representatives to not have someone trying to line their pockets. I mean, let's just hope that people aren't as willing to give their bodies away to the state as they are in Europe.
True. I guess, only time will tell, but, we'll find out. We'll see what happens, buddy. But moving on, we covered this in a previous episode, and I figured we'd give some final thoughts on the topic.
Which topic did you have in mind?
Well, you've most likely heard that Jussie Smollett recently had all 16 felony charges dropped relating to his hoax hate crime.
Say what?
I know you heard what I said.
Fine. Yeah, I'm aware of this recent development. But are you aware that he may still face federal charges and civil lawsuits?
Duh. We read the same article, dude.
Well, then why don't you just get to the point already, Ed?
All right. Well, according to the article, link in the show notes, this feller named Andrew Weisberg, a former prosecutor turned defense attorney, said this case stinks. It stinks, I tell ya.
Easy there, Nick Cage. We just need the facts.
all right, buddy Buzzkill, that's how you want to play it, then fine. He didn't say it stinks, but what he did say is the case is unusual. And one reason he cited is that Jussie, whatever this weirdo's name is.
I can't get over that name.
Jussie, I keep saying Jussie, whatever. He was indicted on March 8th, and the charges were dropped on March 26th.
That seems pretty quick.
It does seem quick. So perhaps there's something to the old, fame and fortune, helps you out legally. So maybe that played a little bit of a role here.
Or white privilege.
Obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. But, anywho, so I did a little reading, and there's, one of the federal charges he may face is mail fraud, of all things. Now, so check this out. The FBI is investigating if he sent himself hate mail with a white powder before the fake attack. If convicted, he could face up to 10 years in prison. Now, moving on a little bit past that, Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, he's thinking, this guy's so mad over this, he's thinking about suing Smollett in an attempt to recoup some of the wasted tax dollars that they spent investigating these shenanigans.
That's not a bad course of action. Not dropping the charges, obviously, but pursuing action civilly to kind of recoup some of that money. I don't think jail is the correct answer because this is just it's essentially a victimless crime. But the taxpayers that paid the city and the pigs to investigate this deserve some sort of restitution. Throw a felony next to his name, at least. At least charge him with one.
Right. I think we can agree on that. The only victim here is, if you want to call them a victim, is the state because they had to waste time and manpower on the investigation. Sure.
But that's more it's the civilians that are anteing
really
up the dough for that.
Really,
though.
yeah. They're the ones being extorted to pay for all this crap. But at least stick them with, falsifying a police report, making false statements, something of that nature. But, we can certainly agree it's more or less a victimless crime. Let them seek some sort of restitution to, get this all out. There's no jail time. It's not like he went out there and stabbed somebody, but we'll have to just keep an eye open on any other lawsuits that may pop up or other investigations, things of that nature. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled.
The one good thing is they're gonna make him pay his $100,000. Was it the bail? I don't know. He put in $100,000 and they're keeping that. So that's something.
Yeah. Well, now Daddy's gonna take some time to take the driver's seat for a second, because I want to point out something I find to be especially heinous. I'm going to read a recent Trump tweet. I'm going to give some context. I'm going to give my opinion, if it pleases the court.
I'll allow it.
Thank you, Judge Cam. So I'm going to read a recent tweet by Donald J. Trump himself. In honor of his past service to our country, Navy SEAL #Eddie Gallagher will soon be moved to less restricted confinement while he awaits his day in court. Process should move quickly. That came today, March 30th.
I'm already a little frustrated.
I know you and I both are, but for those who are listening that are unaware, Eddie Gallagher is a SEAL who is currently awaiting trial for charges of war crimes, okay, and premeditated murder. It's alleged in the reports that I've read that he purposely targeted civilians by shooting them
with a sniper rifle.
With a sniper rifle, yeah, okay. Let me just and he
an old lady.
Wounded.
It said an old lady.
He shot to wound. Yeah, there was an elderly lady, and I don't remember the other demographic of the person, but there were civilians that he just shot, allegedly, whatever. And then there was this ISIS fighter that he's again alleged to have stabbed to death. And this is after the ISIS fighter was wounded in battle, and that there was, corpsmen or medics or whoever was on the scene at that time giving care, stabilizing the fighter.
Yeah, apparently, let me just say, according to what I read,
sure,
he was actually one of the people who was helping stabilize this guy at first.
Yeah, I think I read similar reports. And, where it starts to take a weird turn from there, because you can be like, all right, you were in a gunfight with this guy, and, you shot him, you went and patched him up. Okay, whatever, that's kind of cool. whatever. I can get that. But where it takes a weird turn towards, the dark here and the macabre is there are alleged pictures that were sent via text message of Gallagher holding the guy up after he allegedly stabbed him
in the neck.
So holding him up by
stabbed
his hair.
Him in the neck.
Yeah, stabbing him in the neck and then in the body. So, but holding him up by the hair of his head and then having his knife in one other hand, and that's how he's posing for a picture. And I believe the kid was a teenager. I want to say maybe 15 or 16.
He was 15 years old.
Right. So now we gave the context, we gave the tweet. Now, just for a little bit of a feedback, am I the only person here who thinks it's absolutely insane to tweet a shout out to this dude? Like, this guy's about to go on trial for potential war crimes and premeditated murder. Let's just play this out to its conclusion. Let's say he's found guilty. This means that Trump just said we have to honor his record of murder and war crimes. Is that not crazy, or is it just me?
If you can't lose your heroism when you find a wounded soldier and stab him in the throat and then take pictures with his head, I think there's a problem here. I mean, the tweet said he'll be moved to less restrictive confinement. This dude stabbed a kid in the neck.
Right.
He stabbed a kid in the neck. Why does he need less restrictive confinement? Come on.
And why do we need to honor his service? I mean, from the articles that I've read, after this alleged incident took place, he held a re-enlistment ceremony. So he was like, yeah, let's kill this kid. Hey, check it out. I'm going to hold him up. Picture, smile. Oh, that's going on Insta. I like that. And then, hey, let me just re-enlist and let's have a party real quick. Like, okay, you like, what are you, a psycho? Are you serious?
He texted the picture to someone.
Yeah.
I don't remember because they took all the names out of it, but he texted the picture to someone, and the response from the guy was, "Hey, be careful about sending pictures."
Let's just give some other context here. If I was, when I was stationed in Yuma or Japan, if I was patrolling around the mean streets of the base and I just all of a sudden arbitrarily shot somebody, I'm going to jail for life. I'm not getting any tweets about how awesome I am or how funny I was or, my little antics that got everybody, to kind of laugh when things were shitty. I'm not getting any tweets. Why is this guy getting special tweets from the president? Is it because he's, a Navy SEAL? Or, what does that say about us as a country or politicians in general that we're so beholden to this, cult of personality that the military has, that we have to honor people who are sadistic killers?
Yeah, and one of the things that, because I've been libertarian and non-interventionist for like just years. I mean, it's at this point probably a decade or so, maybe more. I'm not really sure. I can't tell you the timeline.
That sounds about right.
About a decade, I'll say. But one of the things that really kind of changed the way I'm not saying that every person who enters the military is an evil person by any stretch of the imagination. I know some good ones. But one of the things that really showed me the darkness that's in the military and some of the training they have is I knew a kid who, and you're gonna say it's because it's the Army, but I knew a kid who was a pretty good kid, and I knew him for years, and he goes into the Army. And like the first time I see him after he gets out of his boot camp or whatever, he's like, I got this new knife. I can't wait to shove it in some random towel head's brain. And I was like, ew, what? Just anyone? It doesn't matter who it is as long as they're Arab? Like and then what really threw me, and I don't know if I've told you this story before, Phil, but this made me end my friendship with him. He said that he was enlisted, and I'm sure you know something about this.
Maybe so, a little bit.
He said he was not enlisted. He was deployed to, I want to say, Afghanistan, and he would drive one of the Humvees. And apparently, when you're driving one of the Humvees, one of the rules when you're there is that you can't just stop or slow down, because someone might throw an IED or something like that, right? I don't know the real rules. I wasn't in the military. But he tells me this, and he was like, and God, I have the funniest story for you. I was like, okay. And he goes, so yeah, we weren't supposed to stop or slow down. And one time, this kid ran across the road, and I hit him with my Humvee, laughing.
Jesus Christ!
I don't understand. Aside from mental illness, is there anything you can tell me that makes me feel any better about how they train people in the military?
I was never deployed or put in those particular situations, but you go through training and you go through workups and you go through certain scenarios, and you're very much taught. I mean, there's a certain level of desensitization.
I get you.
There's
desensitization.
Yeah, you become desensitized to it to a certain extent because you're taught us versus them. We're the good guys, they're the bad guys. We're human, they're not human. We have all this on our side. We have this righteous cause. They're bad people who, they're such cowards. They don't even put a uniform on and fight you in the field. They hide among the crowds and they plant bombs in the road and they blow people up. They use civilians as bombs. Which is, there's some truth to that. Sure. But
I'm sure there is.
But, I think there's just a greater thing, that just takes over. It's just tribalism. It's us versus them. We're the good guys. They're the bad guys. We're human. They're inhuman because we have a righteous cause. They don't. So that strips away their humanity. So what we do doesn't necessarily matter because they deserve it. And, there's a couple of great things out there that you could watch. Like, there's a show called Generation Kill on HBO you could watch. Or you could read the book. The book's much better than the TV show, I have to admit. The book's great. It's about the initial invasion of Iraq with Marine Recon. It's absolutely just... The insight that the Rolling Stone reporter got who was embedded with them was fantastic. There's, a controversial documentary that's going on right now about Marines that were deployed. And, talking about, like, their inhumanity, their drug abuse, things that they would do of that nature. There's a lot of stuff out there that you can get that's kind of, of an inside, scoop onto what really goes on that, gives a good perspective that kind of, maybe open your eyes to, what really is going on.
Right. I think what it really taught me in that moment, and with a couple of other moments with people who joined the military and didn't get better like everyone said they would, is that the U.S. government tried and succeeded in attempting to strip the humanity of the enemy. And when they did that with so many men that I've met, and some of them have turned around and they're great now and they see where they were and where they were wrong, but by doing that, they strip the humanity of the men themselves. That makes me really sad.
There's that old saying, that's to what is it? To fight a monster, you have to become a monster. To defeat a monster, you have to become a monster. Something like that. I think that's what happens in a lot of cases. Speaking anecdotally, a lot of people that I know personally, have had conflicts, of that, of not only the mind but of the soul. It weighs on them now, years after, and they're filled with regret.
Man is just not designed to kill man.
Maliciously, absolutely not. I mean, there's a difference between some dude breaking into your house looking to steal your TV to sell it for drugs, and he pulls a knife or a gun on you and you shoot him in self-defense.
Yeah, or if some piece of crap decides to touch your kids. I mean,
right.
I feel like, I mean, that's different.
There's a difference between that and being dropped in someone's village and just bombing it.
Telling you to shoot them.
Or shooting them because they looked weird. Or you thought maybe they were grabbing a gun, or they had something to do with some terrorist activity in the area, and you just waste them. Or you just bomb the entire village. Like, there's a difference. And one has to weigh more heavily than the other on somebody. You see all these studies and the articles that come out about those, the drone pilots that, have all this PTSD and don't sleep and have all these problems because they're just flying around these drones and blowing up villages and killing civilians. And it's just like, well, I mean, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I mean, what else do you expect to happen when you're just going around murdering people indiscriminately?
It's like playing a video game and knowing that every person you shoot actually dies.
Right. It's like Call of Duty, but for real.
Our brains are just not set up to do that, man.
Yeah,
but yeah, okay, so let's get away from that because we went to the deep darkness again.
Darkness.
And like I said, I'm not trying to demean anyone who joined the military because, they wanted to be, they've been told their whole lives that they're there to protect freedom, or that they're there, to be a hero. I think they were lied to and sold a bill of goods, but I don't think that they're necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, you can't lump
people.
everybody in. Generalizations are easy to make, but when we consider that,
because I wouldn't put you into that.
Well, let's just take it aside from me. Who was one of Ron Paul's largest support bases? The military. So there's
not to mention that he joined the Air Force. He was in the Air Force.
Exactly. There's a lot to be said for the fact that there's a lot of guys and gals right now who are like, don't send me over there. That doesn't make sense. Why? That has nothing to do with defending our country. There are a lot of people there right now. Like I said, it's easy to make generalizations, but I think it's more fair to, as these cases pop up, to call them out as we see them. Like this guy, from all intents and purposes, it seems like is just a sadistic killer.
Just like that guy I knew.
Yeah, so just call a spade a spade. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, it's probably a duck. That doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, and I think it's fair to make that distinction.
I agree, but it's that time.
It's that time.
It's time to get us out of that darkness for a second, and so we actually asked our loyal listeners in our secret Facebook group to send over some questions that they'd like us to answer this episode.
We did, and we sure did get a lot of responses.
And they sucked. So we threw those out, and I've written some questions for you, Phil, and I trust that you've done the same for me.
Oh, that's Texas size 10-4, buddy. I got some questions.
All right, let's get started, and let's go back and forth. So I'll start.
All right, you go first, buddy.
What is your favorite thing about me?
Oh, you son of a... In all honesty, I think it's your ability to make me crack up laughing more than probably most people that I can name. You crack me up, and you always make me laugh, and that's definitely something I appreciate.
That's a high compliment for me because that's like how I was. I don't know how it happened because my parents. I mean, my mom can be kind of funny, but like we're not like people who care about comedy, or like they weren't. But it's like me and my brother was like comedy our whole lives.
Yeah, I'm always trying to make people laugh because I'm just usually in a bad mood, and I just feel like jokes are, kind of break up the situations.
Right, and I'm chunky, and I had to find a girl.
Yeah, so you need a personality. But I started laughing so hard when you asked me this question because my question to you is literally a question that I typed up wanting to ask you is, what's your favorite thing about me?
Honestly,
no, I swear to God, that's I typed out 5 questions, and question 5 is, what's your favorite thing about me?
It's funny because like we've been friends for 3 or 4 years now, and I've always liked your sense of humor and your just ability to like go with me when I start going into like a tear and like screwing with people or making jokes or whatever. You just go with it.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
but honestly, like after starting this podcast thing, like your dedication to it has been so good for me because I'm an idea guy, and if I don't have someone who's working towards the same goal, I don't get anything done. So that's been huge, and I hugely appreciate that.
Well, that's a way better answer than mine. You that makes you sound that makes you sound like a way better person.
No, I'm not.
Mine was like, oh, I like how you make me laugh. Her. And then here you are with this groundbreaking movement. We just moved forward on so many emotional levels. Whatever.
All right,
your question.
My next question is, if you woke up as me, what would be the first thing that you would do?
Oh man, that's
my questions are very self-centered.
Clearly, if I woke up as you, what was the first thing that I would do?
Yes, sir.
I'd probably literally say, where did all these kids come from?
That's yeah, I mean, most people would.
All right. My question. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
What does your beard smell like?
Used to, it always smelled like pine.
Ooh.
That was my jam. I'll still use that oil every now and then, but honestly, I turned 30 and suddenly I have dry skin under my beard. So most of the time it just smells like face.
Just smells like psoriasis.
it just, whatever I smell like, that's what it smells like. But after I get some Grandpa's pine tar soap again and some more beard oil, it's going to go back to pine.
That sounds like a great product. Grandpa's pine tar soap.
It's incredible because it smells like a dang campfire. Like you shower and it smells like a campfire. Love it. All right, so my follow-up question, real talk. Are you really jealous of my beard?
I'd prefer not to answer this on air. Yes. The answer is yes. Do you not see this on the webcam? Do you not see how orange and patchy this is? Do you not think I'm humiliated every day I look in the mirror and I see this? All right. My turn.
All right.
We're going to get serious. We're going to get serious, all right? Buckle up, partner. It's about to get bumpy. Why are none of your frickin' kids named after me?
For the same reason that they're not named after Ron Paul or William Wallace. I just didn't like the name that much. I like the people better than I like their names.
Oh, shh. I mean, all right. I can't blame you much.
I don't think your name is bad. It's just like, like I said, like there are people that I love.
No, you know how I know it's bad? People, someone says Phil, they immediately think of Dr. Phil. That's my life. Oh, Phil, like Dr. Phil. Oh, yeah, because I never existed prior to his medical career.
Yeah, I mean, fake. I think isn't it fake medical career or something? I don't know.
Yeah, his Oprah Winfrey career, whatever. Your turn.
All right, you ready for another self-centered question?
Of course.
What is the best joke that I've ever told, or best comment?
The one that really had me rolling more than I think anything you've ever said is from that first podcast episode where you said we were finally getting them back for 9/11 when we were talking about the hoaxes and the guy was like, I'll set you on fire.
And what's funny is I wrote that joke. I thought about that in advance and I wrote it down and I was like, I deleted it. And I remember I don't know if you texted me or what, but you were like, put it back.
Yeah, I did. I literally texted you and I said, put it back. Do you know how I know this is a great joke? Is because I told it to my wife and she looked at me like I was sick. Like, that's how I know it's a great joke. And she literally said to me, what's funny about that? I said, I had tears in my face and I said everything. All right. Next question to you. All right. What are your thoughts on people who put ice cubes in their milk?
My son does this.
Which one?
Ezra, my oldest. And I'm pretty sure...
Your oldest. Okay, so he's like 4.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty sure that means
so he doesn't know any better.
That he is probably a sociopath or something. He might kill some animals in the future. I'm not really sure. But it's not a good sign. It's like the people who get their French fries.
It's not your fault.
And then they put the ketchup onto the fries instead of on the side to dip them.
Yeah, you don't... Oh, well, I do that in and out fries. Never mind. Moving on. Hey, move on. Next question. Ask me.
All right,
hurry.
Here's my
Forget this ever happened.
All right, here's my final question. Am I your best friend yet? If not, what do I have to do?
You might be number 2 at this moment, and that's just solely because We haven't been in person, and you haven't bought me a drink. That's how low my bar is. We got to hang out, and you just buy me a drink, and we'll be good.
But yeah, so that's my last question. You got anything? Another one?
I do. I have one more question.
All right, go for it.
If you could kiss Ron Paul, would you kiss him on the lips or on the cheek? Be honest. Don't with me. Don't with me. Be honest.
If I could or if I had to.
No. This is not an obligation. This is simply like you have the opportunity. It presents itself. What do you do?
Well, I mean, obviously on the cheek, but like I'm not one to kiss dudes.
Well, do you love liberty or do you hate it? Do you want to thank him for all that he's done? I mean, a proper smooch right on the lips really seals that.
Did you ever see that the clip from Bruno where Sacha Baron Cohen was in the hotel doing an interview with Ron Paul?
I'll be honest with you, partner. I stopped watching Bruno 4 minutes in.
I didn't watch the movie.
It freaked me out, and I had to stop.
I didn't watch the movie. I just saw this clip. And dude, like, started taking off his pants and stuff and dancing around Ron Paul and trying to come onto him. And Ron Paul was like, he was not having it. And it was one of those things where, like, Ron Paul it was funny, but I felt so bad for him in that moment. Because he's like, he walks out of the room and he's like, this guy's trying to do queer stuff to me.
Oh, that poor guy. He's probably like, what is going on here? Oh, yeah, that dude's a freak. Sacha Baron, that dude's got so many problems. I can only imagine.
All right.
All right, folks. Thanks for having, I won't say a bit, I'll say a lot of fun with us today and joining us on, our adventure into the madness of our world.
Right. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. Just type in "This is MLGA." If you'd like to send us an email, type "This is MLGA" again and throw @gmail.com on it until we get our new spiffy emails.
Hit us up, subscribe, make sure to rate us and leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us grow and guarantees new episodes. We're really making a big push to try to get on that new and noteworthy section of iTunes, so help us out.
We'd also like to shout out Ryan Burgett, Kim Shang, and Thaddeus Presson from the new MLGA original show. Thank you for your servers.
That's right. Our good friends have started a brand new show, the second original show created from the MLGA network.
I hope you like nerdy stuff.
Definitely. And as we mentioned in the interview with Ryan, their show will cover technology and technology news from a libertarian perspective.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear the finished product. I was able to sit in as they recorded their first episode, and since I was interested in the vast majority of it, I think that's a good sign, since I've never listened to Twit or whatever other internet tech shows there were. I just know you guys are going to love it.
Definitely. And that should be dropping by Wednesday, so just keep an eye out for that. Search, for "Thank You for Your Servers" or wherever you listen to your podcasts at.
Don't forget to check out the MLGA Network. We are a small and scrappy group of libertarians that share all of the best liberty podcasts on MLGAnetwork.com. Make sure to check that out. And besides Thank You for Your Servers, we're going to have even more original shows coming your way very soon.
All right. As always, guys and gals, we're happy to be here and we're happy you're with us. Stay sane.